old Alaska Highway. You are now entering the world famous Alaska Highway. And you'll see a lot of American flags now, even though it's Canada. As we're going up the Alaska Highway, we'll see a lot of American influence, guys. It was built by the American military because the American regiments, the American Army regiments built the highway, and they outnumbered Canadians quite substantially back in the day, guys. So it was, a lot of these towns were more American than they were Canadian. Province of British Columbia, Ministry of Transportation and Highways, Northern Woods and Water Route. The Northern Woods and Water Route provides access to spectacular scenery and recreational areas in the northern forest areas of British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. The province of British Columbia recognizes the efforts of Northern Woods and Water Route Association in promoting the use of existing highways through scenic Western Canada to develop potential of the vast green area between Dawson Creek and Winnipeg. The cooperation of the city of Dawson Creek, 40th anniversary of the completion of the Alaska Highway, Mile Zero, and the official starting point of the Great Alaska Highway, constructed between 1942 and 1944 and extending 1,523 miles. It's a little shorter now, from Dawson Creek, British Columbia to Fairbanks, Alaska. Depending on who you talk to, some guys will say that Fairbanks is the end, and some guys will say that Delta Junction, Alaska is the end. If you want to do the whole highway properly, you'd have to follow it all the way to Delta Junction, Alaska, and then at Delta Junction, Alaska, you continue on, go to Fairbanks, but the actual technical end of the highway is Delta Junction. But like I said, depending on who you talk to, that can be a different story, right? They got a billboard here for me. In the early hours of March 9th, 1942, the first troop trains of United States Army Corps of Engineers arrived in Dawson Creek and began construction of 2,450 kilometers, 1,523 miles, Alaska Highway. Overnight, Dawson Creek was transformed from a small agricultural community of 500 into a bustling terminus for troops and supplies. At peak construction, the population swelled to 10,000. Tent cities sprang up in farmers' fields to help house the massive influx. The Northern Alberta Railway Station, the end of steel, became a center of activity and sometimes temporary home for thousands of military and civilian workers, many of whom arrived with little knowledge of road building or sub-zero temperatures. During construction, Dawson Creek served as a clearinghouse for supplies and equipment as well as workers. In spring of 1942, some 600 carloads of tractors, bulldozers, fuel, and supplies arrived by rail from Edmonton for dispersal to construction camps along the route north. Though the highway was completed in record time, it was not without its mishaps. One of the worst tragedies occurred in Dawson Creek in February 1943 when 60,000 cases of dynamite exploded in the center of town. The explosion leveled an entire city block and changed the face of Dawson Creek forever. The modern city of Dawson Creek is rooted in those frenetic, exciting years of road construction. Though agriculture remains the driving economic force in the region, the transportation links forged through muskeg, ice, and snow continue to play a major role. The traffic circle located at the intersection of Alaska Avenue and 8th Street marks designated Mile Zero of the Alaska Highway. A plain 4-foot post once marked the site. In 1946, when it was hit by a car, a new Mile Zero post was designed and moved to the center of Dawson Creek where it stands today. The Mile Zero cairn in Northern Alberta Railway Park was erected in late 1950s to replace the original post, marked the true beginning of the highway north. And this is the intersection there. Alaska Avenue, 8th Street. Sticker forest. Everybody plants the flag here. You gotta plant the flag, eh? It's all about planting a flag. So, see, there's been lots of flag planting going on here. So many stickers. It's not even a free spot. Stickers everywhere. So we're at the end of the Alberta Northern Railway Station, guys. This track here that you see, that used to be for the Northern Alberta Railway, the NAR. But like all things in life, it had its day and then it was no more. But that's what I'm here to do, guys, on my channel. We're gonna preserve all this stuff, document it, make sure that time doesn't erase it like a lot of things do. It's really important, guys, to keep all this history alive and to make sure that it's not lost, so that people in the future generations can understand everything that happened, right? Because it's really interesting, it's fascinating, and it's quite important, I think. Alberta Pool Elevators, Ltd, Dawson Creek. This is the art gallery. They're renovating it right now, but you can go inside and there's a whole bunch of information. That's the visitor center there. Dawson Creek Museum. Oh, they got a payphone. Nice. I love it. Oh, good old payphone, eh? You don't see those anymore. So, Dawson Creek, Mile Zero. Alaska-Alcan Highway. In this spot, in the spring of 1942, at the height of World War II, the U.S. Army engineers began construction of the overland route to Alaska. 9 months later, at a cost of $140 million, the road was completed. This is a road construction feat unsurpassed in modern times. 11,000 troops, 16,000 civilians were employed on this project. There are 133 bridges, 8,000 culverts embodied in the 1,523 miles of gravel highway. The rattle and roar of the mighty bulldozers was a source of amazement to both the local white men and the northern Indian. Over this lifeline to the northwest, thousands of troops, food, and war supplies have been transported. In more recent times, the mighty H-bomb was known to travel this route. It was maintained by the Canadian Army until 1964. Maintenance was then taken over by the Department of Public Works, Ottawa. And then the Dawson Creek historical timeline, guys. 1897, during the search for a suitable rail route through the Rockies, Dr. George Mercer Dawson led a survey party through this valley. In 1898, fur traders and prospectors, police, survey parties, and settlers came on foot by ox team or horse-drawn vehicles over the old trails to this area. 1929 to 31, the railroad pressed through to its present site and the town of Dawson Creek. The famous Mile Zero post stands half a block west of and 1 block south. International Historic Civil Engineering Landmark, American Society of Civil Engineers, founded 1852. Alaska Highway, completed in 1942. Here we are, guys, we made it. Alaska Highway Museum here. Bison, the plains bison, we're gonna see a lot of these guys. In the mid-1600s, 40 to 60 million bison roamed North America. In the 1800s, only a few herds remained. Europeans killed thousands of buffalo for hides and tongues, or just for sport. Canadian government purchased 709 bison from the American ranchers, Elk Island National Park near Wainwright, Alberta in 1906. They've had a long, hard history, those bison. Map of the foothills here, Upper Cretaceous, Lower Cretaceous, Rocky Mountain foothills, interior plains. You can see Pine River and Peace River elevations. South Peace Historical Society. Alaska Highway, U.S. Army Highway Patrol Station. First truck from Dawson Creek, BC to Whitehorse, Yukon. Alaska Highway, 1942. Hosted a population of 20,000 people, which later dwindled to a few hundred. First truck ready to leave from Dawson Creek, BC to Whitehorse, Yukon. Alaska Highway, 1942. First official truck over the Peace River Bridge. Taylor, BC, August 1943. Kiskatna Bridge over a Kutneg River, Alaska Highway, BC 1940s. Temporary bridge used to freight supplies across the river when building the bridge across the Sakani River. Oh, the Sakani Chief, yeah. Wrecked truck, Alaska Highway, 1942. Alaska Highway, U.S. Army convoy. Soldiers sitting on a Jeep, Watson Lake. Highway sign. Baking some bread for the guys there. Winter convoy on Alaska Highway, 1942 to 1943. U.S. Army black troops clearing right of way, Alaska, 1942 to 43. Would that be that could be the 97s. They were the all black regiment. Portable sawmill, construction of Alaska Highway. Alaska Highway, U.S. Army troops. The famed Alaska Highway, long considered an epic in road building, has come a long way since it was completed just over 8 grueling months back in 1942. Started as a wartime measure designed to provide a land route for war material and equipment to Alaska from Canadian provinces and American states. The Alaska Highway was punched through more than 1,500 miles of mountains, muskeg, and mosquitoes. The highway was to begin in the small town of Dawson Creek, then populated by approximately 600 people. On March 9th, 1942, the first train carrying troops arrived at the town. In a matter of months, the town's population boomed to over 10,000. More than 11,000 American troops, 16,000 civilian workmen, 7,000 pieces of equipment were thrown into the Herculean task of penetrating a vast, untamed wilderness. The construction bill for the 1,523-mile route was about $140 million, and it included 133 major bridges and more than 8,000 culverts, if placed end-to-end, would stretch over 57 miles. Then, on a bleak, cold November 20th, 1942, a little less than 9 months after the construction began. 250 shivering soldiers, civilians, and Royal Canadian Mounted Policemen watched as officials from the United States and Canada cut the ribbon to officially open this major road link. The ceremony took place at mile 1061, known as Soldier Summit, and it crowned an event that has gone down in history as one of the construction triumphs of the world. Since then, the Alaska Highway has developed into one of the most important transportation arteries in North America, stretching from mile 0 at Dawson Creek, British Columbia, through the Yukon Territory and into Alaska at Fairbanks. Jurisdiction over the Canadian section of the highway was turned over to the Canadian Army in 1946, and all construction and upgrading was carried out under the Canadian Army supervision until April 1st, 1964, when the Federal Department of Public Works took it over. On April 1st, 1971, the maintenance of the Yukon section of the Alaska Highway was turned over to the Yukon Department of Highways and Public Works by the federal government. Ever since the Alaska Highway was completed in the 40s, a continual program of upgrading, widening, straightening has been underway. Approximately 90% of the Alaska Highway is now paved. The Alaska Highway, once an emergency wartime road, has developed into a vital link between the giant industrial regions of the US and Canada and the natural resources of Alaska and the Yukon. But aside from the economic aspects of the highway, it also represents a permanent monument to the durable and warm friendship between the two great nations. That's the original highway. Okay, perfect. So the solid line is the original highway. So this was the original road, guys. Going up. And I said that they've straightened it over time and kind of made it better. You can see here, look, this is what they've done now. Basically tried to straighten it out, make it so that it's not so curvy and windy, right? Because when they did it back in the day, they were just trying to get it done. Builder's level. Jerry cans. So that's an actual jerry can. These markings, because when they built gas cans in World War II, the Americans, they built them like just squares, and they didn't put any of these in them. But then when they captured the Germans and they got their equipment, they saw their jerry cans, and the Germans had put these indentations and stuff in, which stopped the cans from breaking as much. Which, when they found it, they were like, Germans used to be called jerrys, right, back in the day. And so that's where a jerry can came from, because they were the gas cans that they found on the German trucks. SO gas pump.
The largest of these was the Peace River Bridge, spanning one of the great rivers.
Cutlery.
Near the southern end of the highway, the bridge is
equipment cans.
25 feet long, with 2 suspension towers reaching 200 feet high, and a concrete deck 24 feet wide.
Transit.
The bridge was officially opened in August 1943.
Military insignia stuff. 1930s in Dawson. Oh, can't hook. Just all artifacts. Various different artifacts. (1940) World War II, Alaska Highway. The 40s. Dawson Creek's population in 1941 was 518. In 42, Dawson became the start of the Alaska Highway because it was the end of steel for the NAR and became the southern jumping off point for men and equipment arriving to build the Alcan Highway. Dawson Creek became the transportation center of the area, with numerous trucking companies locating their head offices in the village, including EJ Spinney Trucking, Northern Freightways, Lozelle Transport, North American Trucking, Wilson Freightways, Trail Transport, and Calder Transport, followed by many others. Dawson Creek Mile 0 on the Alaska Military Highway. The Alcan Highway Pioneer Tote Road, built in a record 8 months, was officially opened on November 20th, 1942 at Kluane Lake, Yukon Territory. It's had quite a history, this town. Alaska Highway.
But the Alaska Highway is much more than a road. Much more than a pretty...
All the different animals. Ooh. Leaf fossils. Fossil chain coral. Petrified wood. Ooh, thunder egg. Found on the Peace River. Sponge. Ooh, there's a fish fossil. Ancient clam. Oyster. Scallops. Discovery of Mammoth Tuscan Peace Coop, 1969 by Ted Williams. an Arnold Manco while hiking along the river looking for rocks. It's a huge tusk. It gives you an idea of the size of them, eh? Mammoth jawbone, look at that. Vertebrae, all these bones. Dinosaur track. Dinosaur leg bone. That goes with our Tumbler Ridge thing, right? It's a mountain goat. Grizzly bear. So then this is the train station. Hudson's Bay Company operated riverboats. Last spike on the NAR, driven by Mrs. Fred Chase and Frank Dewitter. Peace River Bridge collapsed in 1957. And then building of the bridge across the Sakonnet Chief. But this is the train station. Northern Alberta Railways locomotive roster. Steam locomotives in service after 1940. Northern Alberta Railways. Oh yeah, you can see the rail lines, yeah. Edmonton. Everything going out of Edmonton. Dawson Creek. Fort Smith, Fitzgerald, Hay River, Fort Providence, Lake Liard. All these places. Telegraphs, so they can keep in contact, make everything function properly. Oh, so this is literally like the line. This is the old line.
Yep.
This is the NAR line.
This is where they would have come out that door with their luggage.
Oh, this door here. Yeah.
Door on the other side with their luggage. This door for the waiting.
Yeah.
And they would have loaded the train.
Does no trains run on this track anymore? Do they?
They do run, but not.
Yeah.
Passenger.
It's probably CN. Is it CN? Yeah.
No, it's CN. This was Alberta.
It's so sad that all these railways just disappear. It's horrible.
And this was Alberta, not BC.
Yeah. No, for sure. Northern Alberta Railway, right?
We were at Athabasca at that time.
Yeah.
Athabasca was Alberta, but in the 1950s it changed over to BC.
Well, you guys are you're right on the border basically of Alberta. Literally, Alberta's 10 minutes away.
Yes.
So, well, thank you. That was amazing, actually.
You're welcome. Most people don't walk around the building to see it.
Holy, here we are, guys, Alaska Highway. This is where it starts, guys. This is it. This is the beginning. We drove 2 days, Canada, America. And then Alberta, grain elevators. Dawson Creek and Alberta are very close to each other, so it's kind of like being in Alberta here almost. So it's gonna be it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Alaska Highway Museum. We're here, we made it. So we're gonna, tomorrow the journey will start. We're gonna commence our trip down the Alaska Highway, history, mining, infrastructure, nature, everything, right? Everything I usually do on my channel. That's gonna be all here. There we go, guys. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified. And Sasquatch Prospector out.